cast from the coast.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Here's Johnny.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
This 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
The boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
Welcome everybody to They Cast from the Coast, episode 47, by the way, guys. Getting closer to the 50. My name is Adam Miles, and I have with me, as always, Tim. Adam, I blame you for choosing a dumb fucking movie, Miles.
Yeah, and I actually said that. Yes.
Well, it probably a little bit more ad-lib than it was going to be, because I was discussing it with the wife, and she was just like, Adam, I blame you for letting David choose a dumb fucking movie, Miles, or something like that. And I'm like, okay, one of the two.
We have to have a dumb one every now and
We
then.
have to have a dumb movie every now and then. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good.
Nice. Well, we haven't been behind the microphone for a little while. A bunch of us have been sick and busy. And
Adam's fault.
My fault. Yeah, dental fucking shit to deal with. So what are you gonna do? But what have you been up to, Tim? Talk to us, buddy.
I have doing what Tim does all the time. I've been editing like a madman and watching movies and watching new movies and normal Tim stuff. Normal Tim stuff.
That's good. You've been putting out some amazing pictures, man. You finally completed the one that I seen you do.
Oh, stop.
Bit by bit. Stop it.
Stop. Okay, keep going.
That Avengers picture that you did for the cosplayers from HalCon was freaking amazing, man. What the hell? That was just mind-blowing.
It was the biggest group shot I've done to date. Because the thing was, it's like, even though I would say the majority of the cosplayers that are in that picture, they were all taken at the same time, and some of them were actually like a group shot. But then when you're going through it, just like, normal shoots, not everybody that was in the group necessarily had the same intensity as someone else. So what I ended up having to do was go through all the pictures and find the best representation of each character.
Yep.
And then layer them and put them all together. But it took me like, I don't know. I mean, it was about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. Wow. It took to edit that. But I think as far as time, there was a couple days there where it was like 15, 16 hours of just sitting there cropping and, blending. And, there was it was a balancing act to get everything to look right. And then after all that was done, I had to go in and actually do the special effects. So Doctor Strange with the magic going, and I had Scarlet Witch, but Scarlet Witch was standing close to Thor, so she had to have some of the glow had to spill onto his cape, and all the shadows, and it was, like I said, it was a balancing act. But then I was happy from that, and I was exhausted, but I got people waiting that paid, so I was on to the next one. So
on to the next one, and keeping on, and you just keep pumping them out, buddy. It's crazy.
Well, I'm trying to get ahead of it, right? Because the thing that I don't want to happen is we get to next HalCon, and I'm still not done last year's HalCon. So,
True.
My goal is to get this first wave, this first run-through, done by Geekwinox, which is in April. So going into Geekwinox, hopefully everybody that paid for shots from HalCon will get their first half of what I owed them, right? And then from Geekwinox until whatever, HalCon 2018, I'll be, staggering them. So yeah, getting them all done, and then working on Geekwinox pictures and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, in between that, I still got like regular, random pictures. Like, they just dropped the new Han Solo trailer.
Oh yes,
which
yes,
was a lot better than I was expecting, which was cool. But along with that trailer, they released character posters, and there was this. And I really liked the aesthetic of them. It had the young Han Solo doing the Han Solo pose in the word Solo. And I was like, I got someone that does Han Solo.
Oh,
and so I ended up doing my version of that poster, and people seem to like that. But that's, to date, one of my favorite. Like, it's on my phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, it's great, man. It was great. Seeing when you dropped that one, I was like, yeah. Tim's working his magic, because the Solo, it's Star Wars. It's got to be handled in a certain way. It's got to be.
I can't believe it's coming up so quick. It's in May. It's like I've been used to seeing a Star Wars movie every year now for the last few years, and now we just had Last Jedi in December, and we're getting another one in May. It's like, is it too quick? Are they jumping the gun? I don't know.
Then we have to go a year and a half without any.
I know.
There's not going to be any this Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have to wait till next Christmas, which will be Episode 9.
Yes.
So should they have waited and put it out in December? I don't know, man.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I like the fact that it's coming out in May. All the original trilogy came out in May. A lot of the original trilogy, at least one of them, came out May 25th. I think May was a good month for it to come out, like Memorial Day down in the States and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. I kind of like the vibe of it coming out at Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, it seems much more part of the holidays, much more of an event. And I don't know. I just love the vibe of just going to see a Star Wars movie in the winter, right? So
it is part of the whole Christmas vacation type of thing for a lot of us. So yeah.
Well, no, I feel the same way. It was kind of like when Lord of the Rings was coming out. You look forward to that every Christmas, right? It was an event. Same thing. Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys knew, but we're getting a shit ton of Star Wars. Like, did you guys hear all this?
Oh, yes.
Stuff?
Oh, yeah.
The writers for, like, Game of Thrones have been handed, to do a trilogy or something like this.
No, it did not say trilogy. It said series. Series of movies. Now, that's not a trilogy.
Rian Johnson is going to be in charge of the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, an offshoot because their whole idea is that they're taking a break once this episodic trilogy's done, which makes sense, because if you look at the gap between the original trilogy and the prequels, it was about 10-15 years. Then between the prequels and this was 10 years. So what they want to do is they want to have that kind of, these episodes are special, right? So they're going to wait 10 years to put out, say, episode 10, right? Which would be cool. But in between that, they've already wanted to do a new Star Wars movie every year. So with this new Rian Johnson trilogy, you still got a bunch of these one-off movies, plus, the Game of Thrones guys doing this new series of films. On top of that, it's just been confirmed that Disney's new streaming service that's coming out in 2019, its flagship show is a new Star Wars series. So we're getting a Star Wars TV show. But then Bob Iger, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, announced, no, we are doing not one, but a few Star Wars shows. So we're getting a bunch of Star Wars shows and a bunch of Star Wars movies. Is this a good thing?
I don't know, man. Are they stretching it too thin? Star Wars is something special, and it's exciting. It's something to get excited about. You don't get. It's not on TV. It's not like you're watching it as a weekly series. It's like the whole once a year thing, right? It's something to build up, lead up to, get excited for. I don't know. I mean,
it all depends on what they do. It all depends on what they do and the kind of stories that they tell. They're very much wanting to use the Marvel MCU template for the films with Star Wars, which I kind of appreciate, because, I mean, the type of stories that they can tell can all... I mean, there's the whole term Star Wars canon, right? Like, all the stories do fit in with each other some sort of way. It's just, I don't know, like...
Can we have too much of a good thing, though? Yeah. And after, let's give it 5 years, after 5 years of being, inundated with all this Star Wars, are people going to start getting sick of it? It's not going to be that special movie franchise, you know what I mean, that we've grown up and loved. I don't know.
I'm personally thinking, as long as we get one solid live-action show that has nothing to do with the current episodic system, like the Skywalker family, I would love to see something like an Old Republic-style TV show. Something that has to do with a lot of the politics, plus, the action of the Siths and the Jedi Order and everything else. I would love to see that. And then a series of movies, which we're going to get anyway. But beyond that, I'm thinking it might be the only way that they're going to pull it off, if they're saying multiple different series of shows, would be like if there's something kid-like and then something more mature. That's the only way that they're going to be able to stretch that any thinner, is have something for the little ones and have something for the adults.
Well, I mean, they already had stuff for the kids, right? I mean, with the Rebels and the Clone Wars.
Really? Those were for kids? Because I watched it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
No, well, the thing is, it's like it just boils down to, do they have an interesting story to tell?
Yeah.
Because I think just for leaning on the laurels of it's Star Wars, people will come. No, yes, people showed up for Last Jedi, but it has been regarded like, people are saying like the prequels are better than.
Oh, that's
Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
This is a topic for another video, as far as the Last Jedi and the vibe, because I could easily talk for an hour, no problem.
Yeah.
But
we'll have a discussion when it hits Blu-ray.
Yeah, it just like I said, it matters. What matters is, do they have an interesting story to tell? These movies are usually beautifully done as far as special effects and world building and different planets and all that. I love it. They come up with original shit all the time. It's the story that matters. It harkens back to these like legends of like King Arthur and the hero's journey and all that kind of stuff. Get back to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Get back to that.
100%.
Archetypes, that kind of thing. That's what I would like to see. I would love to see a TV show. Instead of making a Han Solo movie, they should have did a Han Solo TV show.
Oh, his early days.
Well, him doing smuggling runs and, the introduction of, his working relationship with Jabba and Boba Fett and, evading the Empire and all that. I would like to see that as a show. Kind of like, harkens back to Firefly or, you know what I mean? Except it's Star Wars, right? So
even if it only had like a small run where they only had so many stories to tell, so many episodes, have it as a mini-series.
A couple seasons of 12 episodes each, HBO style or something like that,
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I think that would be awesome.
Good point.
Cool.
Good points. Going around the virtual table. Dave!
Around the virtual table. Me.
Dave!
What's up, Dave?
Busy. Been feeling under the weather, been sick the last couple of weeks, finally starting to get over it now, so can actually talk properly today. That's good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching lots of movies. Yeah, I've been catching up on some stuff, and I caught that new Cloverfield movie the other night that got released after the Super Bowl.
Do not say anything about it.
I'm not.
I have a full plan that the kid has not seen any of them. So
nice.
He did see 10 Cloverfield Lane, like the end of it, but he's not seen. So we're going to watch them in
quote unquote
story order.
Yeah.
Story order.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really cool. So do not spoil any of it, Dave.
I won't. Just watch it with an open mind.
That's what I heard.
I enjoyed it. A lot of people are shitting on it. It's a good story. I get it. I enjoyed it. It's a good sci-fi movie. I'll leave it at that.
It'll be
I think
interesting
you'll
to see
enjoy
what
it.
part 4 is like. It's already filmed. What the hell?
Well, again, it's kind of like the 10 Cloverfield Lane thing where they've essentially taken other movies that have either been already scripted or shot, and they're retweaking it to fit within the Cloverfield universe.
And that's not the first time we've heard studios and stuff doing that. I mean, just look at Saw 2, right?
Yeah.
But this, I don't know what it is, but 10 Cloverfield Lane, that worked for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of a sudden at the end, there's all these fucking monsters, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Agreed. No, it's good. But I mean, that happens with, like you said, a lot of series, right? I mean, that's the later Hellraiser movies. There was like one or two of them that same thing. There were just other scripts somebody grabbed off the shelf and said, put the Hell Priest in these, and Hellraiser, yay. Okay. Fine. Fair enough. So
Everybody calls him Pinhead, Adam.
I know that, Tim. No, Pinhead is a little puppet doll from the Puppet Master.
No, it's Pinhead. It's just like lightsabers are called lightsabers, but George Lucas originally called them laser swords.
Laser swords. Okay.
You're doing the same thing.
I'm just going to call them laser swords from now on, Tim. I like my wars in the stars with the laser swords and shit.
Laser swords.
Shit. Nice. So you had a good week then, Dave.
Yeah, it was all right. It's all right. Catching up on TV and movies, and we're getting closer and closer to the play opening. We're just over a month away. So
I thought it already did. What was all this Facebook business?
That was the
showing
the
Oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
How many plays are you doing?
Oh no, I'm only doing the one, but the other one it's the Theater Society that I'm involved with. We had one open at the end of January.
Theater Society.
Society.
You guys have like wine and cheese parties and wear monocles.
Society. Yes.
Mr. Longtooth.
It's the society.
It's all about the theater life.
The theatrical.
The theatrics of life.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good.
That's all right then.
Mine's opening in March.
Yours is opening in March. Nice.
Yeah.
Now I have a question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
Are you going to do one? Are you going to do is this going to be your one and done, or are you planning on maybe doing another show in the future, like a different play?
I've got plans in place to do one October 2019. Can't release any details yet.
Ooh, secret play.
Yeah. I have to get it approved first. So once it's approved, then we can announce it.
I don't think that they're going to Saw live, Dave.
Oh, wow. Saw the musical.
Saw the musical.
Actually,
I want to play a game.
All joking aside, I won't be able to do this particular one with the group that I'm affiliated now, but independently, I'd love to do Evil Dead the musical. Oh, because nobody has done it east of Montreal.
Nice.
Montreal is the closest east.
You said you wouldn't be able to do it with this group of people. Is it going to be like the one-man show? We're going to go to some little dank theater down in and there's Steven with a cardboard box.
I wouldn't be able to put it on under this banner, under the Quick as a Wink banner. So, because the Quick as a Wink is more family-friendly oriented type shows, whereas Evil Dead, I mean, one of the songs in Evil Dead the Musical is "What the fuck was that?" So,
yeah, I
don't think that's gonna work.
I actually caught a video version of it. Somebody recorded and put online once. I had to watch it. It was funny as hell.
It's like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Like, nope, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Quick as a Wink presents. Yeah. No, they don't.
Yeah, no, not gonna work.
Not. Nice.
So anyway, yeah, I'm working on something after this one.
Good, nice,
cool.
Yep, we'll see.
Well, all the power to it. So we'll see where that goes. All right. I might as well say I've been watching a couple of good movies here. We're gonna have to do.
Anyways, moving on.
Nobody cares, Adam.
This is the time for a break.
It's time for a break in a minute. Shut up, Adam. Fucking Hook comes out and rips Adam off the damn stage. What the hell, guys?
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we've had a couple of really good movies come out here in the last week or so, guys. One of them just got released on Blu-ray, DVD, and video on demand, and the other one, they both did. Victor Crowley.
Yeah!
Rented it on video on demand. Adam Green knocked it out of the fucking park. I love
You need
this
to
movie.
get that man on the show.
I want to get Adam Green on the show and Joe Lynch. We'll get them. We'll get the two guys from the podcast. I mean, they do their own podcast, the Movie Crypt. We'll get them on the show. We'll do like a cross show or something like this. I'd fucking love to do that. They're great.
That would be cool.
Nice. But knocked it out of the park. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, in my opinion, it was like the first one and then this one. Like,
No.
I
told you exactly what I thought this story plot kind of reminded me of.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was done on purpose, but it still didn't take away from the movie at all.
No.
But did you guys not notice? With me anyway, it totally reminded me of the premise from Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, pretty much. We're
Like,
not actually going to
seriously.
land there. We're just going to fly over. Oh,
Yeah, getting the guy to come back to the place that he didn't want to go, and we'll pay him, and the payment was bullshit. Now, like I said, it just the premise part. This movie was so much fun. The deaths in this were top notch. It was great.
fun.
Kane Hodder was phenomenal. I loved all the cast. I loved Rose.
Felissa Rose?
No. The little chick.
Oh, yeah, the one from, she's actually on the show Holliston.
She's adorable.
Oh, she's
like
awesome.
feisty.
Yeah.
I loved her.
God, yeah,
Loved her.
hilarious.
And she was hot.
And dude, I did love Felissa Rose too. Felissa Rose, I
Oh my
have a spot
gosh.
in my heart for her because she's a beautiful woman and she's such a fun person to be around. And when I seen her acting in this movie, I thought it was absolutely, like, I giggled whenever she was around. It was just hilarious. Her and her friggin' plethora of pills that she's got.
That's
You know what I
awesome.
mean?
And the plane crashes, and she's like, knocked out on the plane.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, and I thought she was really good at it as his publicist or assistant or whatever the hell it was.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was really good.
We're gonna have to do an episode on it for sure or something like this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in the
Well, hey, we got. It very well could be. Why are you being so coy, Adam?
I'm just saying we just might have to. So. But second movie I'll talk about real quick here because we probably won't do an episode on this one, but I just kind of want to put my thoughts out there for a minute. Hellraiser Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this movie, in my opinion, was not a shitstorm. I would not do a rated S for shit on this movie. It was better than that. Where does it sit in terms of where I would
Rated
say...
S for pee? For poop?
Where does it sit in terms of where I would say in the series of Hellraiser movies? I'd say probably sits past 4. Like, if this was part 5, I'd be happy saying 1 to 5 I like. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I love part 1, 2, 3, and I like Bloodlines, which a lot of people don't. But I like those movies. And this would sit better than the Hellseeker and Hellworld and all that other bullshit that came afterwards with the stuff that, even though Doug Bradley was in, it wasn't that great, and the as we call him, the great value Pinhead that followed, which wasn't that good. The guy who played Pinhead in this one knocked it out of the park for me. I think he will never be as good as Doug Bradley in the originals. However, he did do a fantastic job. The weakest part of this movie was the last 2 minutes of it. That's it. It was a good throwback to the original with a twist, but the twist itself at the very end, yeah, whatever. Twist. That was probably the worst part of the whole thing. Dave, you were going to say something?
Oh, twist.
Just twisted.
Twist. Okay, you had your hand up. I was
But
we're not in school.
Seeing as how you did,
Fuck it, David, you
Jeez.
got
Okay, now we got to go to a break.
We're gonna get to
this
the break.
movie had a lot of heart. I'll give it that.
Yes.
It was made by a fan for the fans. Gary J. Tunnicliffe, however you pronounce his last name. He was like the original special effects makeup guy, like on the original Hellraiser movies. And then he made a short film, like the name escapes me right now, which was actually the basis for this Hellraiser Judgment.
Yeah, it was just called Judgment. Yeah.
Was it just called Judgment?
Yeah, it was just called Judgment.
Okay. The movie had a lot of heart. It tried to do everything right. I think that, I don't know, it fell flat. I think some parts were in excess. I seen the twist coming 5 minutes into the movie. I seen it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't a terrible movie, but I wouldn't place it as close to the front as what you did, Adam. I would place it...
Well, Adam's known for his notoriously bad taste in movies.
Well, I know. I mean, how the hell did
podcast,
Tim? Yeah, like...
Continue, Dave. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Fuck it. Whatever.
Sorry. Okay, completely different thing. I don't know if we actually talked about it on the podcast, and if we didn't, you can absolutely cut this out. But they started filming Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about it yet. Not at all.
All right. So, the shit that's come out,
H40.
I am so in love. I am so in love. There's this one guy that I'm following on Instagram that he lives where they're shooting. So he keeps taking all these photos of, like, he took a photo of the police car and the ambulance, and it's got Haddonfield on it. And, like, there's that one set photo where it's got, like, Michael, like, right next to a tree, and you can, you know, just, you know it's him because of the colors, you know, the blue jumpsuit, the white face, and the hair and all that, but you can't make any detail out. But what people are saying is it is an exact replica of the original Halloween mask.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And, like, I am so excited.
And it damn well should be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no excuse.
No.
And I think that might have been the reason why they're not counting anything past one, because they want this uniform mask, right? I mean, they even got Nick Castle to play the Shape again. Like, that is amazing.
That is awesome. The guy's in good shape for his friggin' age. Have you seen, like, the videos that he's been posting?
Yeah.
He's, running on a treadmill saying, just trying to prove that at 70 years old I can do this shit.
Yeah,
it's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
This guy's pumped. And he's
I'm really excited from what I've seen. I can't wait to get a trailer. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, slightly. And
Halloween this month, or this year is going to be Halloween. I wish it was Halloween this month, but Halloween this year, yeah, I'm very excited. And I'm going to literally pray and, like, beg the people at the movie theater that I can take my kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. But
he asked me, he's like, can I come? And I said, I'll try.
I will
my hardest, because he was so bummed out that he couldn't go see it with us, right?
Oh yeah, slightly. But I will say as well, the first official set picture with actors, which was actually just Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis. Bang! There you go, man. She got the long hair. She was just,
and it kind of goes out the same.
Yeah, it was kind of like really 70-ish, 70s-ish. But it was great though, because the behind the scenes set pictures show her with short hair. Because she's been rocking the short hair for a long time. So you can tell it's absolutely a wig, but it just looked natural, and it just looked fantastic seeing her with the haircut.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. Can't wait. I'm excited. We will see some more hopefully soon anyway. So with that, gentlemen, we are going to cut to our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about, on episode 47, by the way,
in honor of February being Valentine's Day, Valentine's-y kind of movie.
The month of love and lust and all that shit. We will be talking tonight about the movie from the year 2000, Cherry Falls.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, you keep trying to be positive, Dave. Coming back in a minute, everybody. People of the internet, my name is Tim Johnson, and I am joined by Adam and David Miles. We are Filmgoria, a new show from Misunderstood, our company, that will be premiering very soon, where we actually review and delve deep into these movie titles that we absolutely love and hold very, very close. Make sure to keep checking out for that. We will be on YouTube, and as always, stay spooky.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. You know, folks, when we're not making those great movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nukamai, a.k.a. Volume 2, the Troma team and I like to kick back and listen to They Cast from the Coast. They Cast from the Coast is really the best entertainment, the best education, and the best emotional liberation that Lloyd Kaufman can possibly experience. Thank you.
I remember the story like this. It was a dark and scary night, kind of like tonight.
25 years ago, a horrible crime was committed in the town of Cherry Falls. Now...
You haven't heard about Rod and Stacy?
Did they break up?
Break up! Wake up! They're dead!
What their parents hid in the past.
Nobody has seen or heard of her for over 25 years.
Mom, do you know anything about a woman named Laura Lee Sherman? No. Why?
Is haunting the present.
Who is it?
Is your mom home?
No.
She didn't tell you I was coming by.
4 teenagers have been killed, a 5th viciously attacked.
All victims appeared to be virgins.
So everyone's decided to take themselves off the endangered species list and have sex.
I need to ask you a personal question. About how far you've gone, base-wise? Can you go further?
Tell me about Laura Lee Sherman. Tell me.
That was 25 years ago.
Do you think she goes all the way?
Doubt it.
You gotta come. Come on.
This is my post. I can't just split.
Cherry Falls.
Did you want your first time to be something beautiful, something romantic?
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us after that wonderful break. And we will now begin our discussion on the movie of the episode, 2000's Cherry Falls. Dave, take it away.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll try my best, guys. I'll try my best.
We know you will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Pat on the back here. All right. Cherry Falls. Cherry Falls is the 2000 slasher movie that kicks off with a couple of teenagers making out just outside the town of Cherry Falls. Virginia. Thank you, Adam. And like most slasher movies, these two individuals end up dead at the hands of a homicidal maniac. But what makes this homicidal maniac different is it appears to be a female out doing the murder. Yeah, the twists start early in this one. So we then kind of... This movie, it kind of takes a little bit of help from Scream in that it kind of sets it up as the teen slasher movie, and we have kind of like the somewhat masked killer, but in this one, it's the killer's kind of disguised like a woman, and we're not really sure, obviously, who the killer is, but we're led to believe it's a female. And after the initial murders, we find out that these two kids went to the local high school. The local sheriff is now starting to look into and investigate these murders. Brittany Murphy stars in this movie. Her father is actually the sheriff, played by Michael Biehn.
Awesome casting.
Yeah, awesome.
I love
casting.
Michael Biehn.
Best part of this whole friggin' movie. I'll just leave it at that.
This movie had, showed a lot of promise, when it came out, because Brittany Murphy was a young, up-and-coming actress, and Michael Biehn, of course, was a well-established actor. And, the movie showed a lot of promise. So basically the movie continues with the investigation in these two deaths, and it continues with more deaths, high school kids, meeting their demise. And I'm going to keep it very general because we're going to get into the specifics here soon. But basically we find out that the MO for the killer is that the killer seems to be targeting virgins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and of course, once Adam. Okay then. So
penetration on multiple levels, but okay.
Penetration on multiple levels. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Double meaning to the title of the movie. Huh?
This movie's just full of those double meanings. It's all over the damn place.
It is. Yeah. No, for sure. So once the student population finds out the killer's MO, they basically stage this huge orgy, for lack of a better definition, this big sex party where, any virgin you're going to go to this big sex party, you're going to, pop your cherry, and you're not going to be a virgin anymore, and therefore you're not going to get killed, right? You're not going to be a target for the killer. Which, sort of sounds like a good idea in theory, but it ends up, basically...
That's a great segue into that, Dave.
Sex party, and that way
was a very good segue.
Target, on my back.
Sounds like a good movie in theory, but let's continue that conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
With this movie, it's another one of those. You've seen the ending coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Okay. And.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Before you get too deep into thought, we'll talk about it again here in a second. Tim, the story, your thoughts on the story itself and the premise. I know it's painful, but we got to get through it.
The thing is as far as the story is concerned, it's a Scream clone.
It is cookie cutter, yes.
It's very cookie cutter, and I think that, they're faced, the people that make this movie are made Scream clones, because there's quite a few of them. They were obviously faced with, a dilemma on how to not stray too far from a winning formula, which was Scream, yet be original at the same time, and... this one, they had the little twist. But, I don't know. I mean,
all right.
A big teenage sex orgy. This doesn't sound like a horror movie. This sounds like the premise from a porn film.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
It
and
does.
If it was
Scream
that
the porn
context,
parody.
Awesome! But it's not. It's a horror movie, and, I just,
all right.
Yeah.
No, I know where you're going with this.
In order to save their lives, they have to have a big orgy.
It is a bit of a stupid.
It's a porn premise.
It is a bit of a stupid premise. So okay, yeah. So I agree with all this so far, guys. So it is a Scream clone. It is cookie cutter.
You agree with all of it?
I agree with all of this so far. Having, and I quote from the movie, a teenage fuckfest is just this interesting theory and thought, and like David said, in premise, you know what I mean? And I agree, it does more or less sound like if Scream had a porn parody. Like every movie that's out there today that's popular has a porn parody. If Scream had a porn parody, this would have been it. Cherry Falls. Okay? The movie is full of all kinds of double entendre type of, double meaning bullshit, stuff like that. Cherry Falls, cherries, popping cherries, virgins, Virginia itself, being the state that it just so happens to be in, Virginia, all that shit is in there. The whole premise itself seems really friggin' weird, but it isn't necessarily the premise that I had a problem with. So let's dive into actors for a second. I'm going to kick this one off. The actors and the characters in this movie were only as... I'm even going to back up there for a second. They were bullshit compared to the one actor that I actually liked in this movie, Michael Biehn as the sheriff. Because you cannot not like Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn is great. And his sheriff character was like the best damn thing. Spoiler alert, everybody. His ass also dies in this movie, which is like the shittiest part because he's like the best part of the damn movie. So it is what it is. In terms of the characters and the actors, Brittany Murphy was kind of our low-budget Nev Campbell for this flick. So what we have is Brittany Murphy at the beginning of her push to be the next big thing in Hollywood, because after this she went on to do a bunch of other movies that were really popular, like that. What was that one? Don't Say a Word or whatever. Well, one where she had that, she was crazy and shit, and she had like a secret and all this whatever bullshit. I never really truly liked Brittany Murphy as an actress. No disrespect to her memory. She is dead now, but come on, like Clueless, okay, cool. It was a fun, happy movie that, had its time in the 90s, but she really, like, the first time that I seen her on the screen in this movie, like the first, like revisiting this movie, when you first see her, she looks like shit. The stringy hair and the freaking runny makeup and all that kind of shit. She looks like I don't even know how to describe her, but she looks like just a disgusting, unwashed teenager. And there's nothing sexual about this character when I'm looking at her. I'm just kind of like, really? People had that much of a hot on for this chick, back in the 90s? I just couldn't understand it.
Even though this movie was made in 2000.
But still, it was filmed in the 90s, Tim. Released in 2000.
Go ahead.
I couldn't get behind it. And her acting was very much so just a lower brow version of like every other character that she's ever played in the movie. She does that whole begins to breathe before she actually talks. I just want to say, that kind of a friggin' thing.
Wow, you're nitpicking now.
I am nitpicking, man.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
So other characters.
Okay, look,
Characters.
Brittany Murphy's character in this, she is rather likable, and she's not the unconventional, like, leading girl, okay? But she did the best she could with the script that she had. I thought she was all right. She is not the worst thing about this movie.
No, she's not the worst thing about this movie.
Okay? Michael Biehn was Michael Biehn. He's the same in every movie that he's in, and that's not a bad thing. He has a type of character that he likes to play. And believe it or not, he dies in most of the movies that he's in, Adam. So
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
He picked the safe character in this movie because there was no way, like, I don't know. He was the only stand-up part in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you also got Jay Moore, who was the rather timid, school teacher who fears for his students' safety, and like, there's
Yeah,
I don't remember anybody else. Like, I mean, there was that cute girl at the start that got her head fucking smashed in the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There was also that stoner who, it didn't openly like have him like puffing weed or anything else, but you knew he was a stoner. It was implied, and especially when they go to talk to him and he's sitting there with this ridiculous look on his face going, these ribs are awesome. And it's like, this guy's like the absolute stoner in this movie, but it's implied only. Like, it would have even been better if they were like, smoking a bong in the back of his truck like in every other damn movie. That would have, suggested that kind of a character. But no, he came across as more of a dimwit than anything, but whatever. Okay, so characters. I couldn't really give a shit about these characters. So maybe that is a positive I'm going to state. For the killer to go around killing these characters, I didn't give enough of a shit about them to matter. So,
but I mean, let's talk about the killer for a second. I mean, they obviously tried to do something different. I mean, disguising the killer as the woman and coming up with this legend. And I mean, if the movie had worked, if it had taken off, we could have had some sort of new, iconic killer, which I think is almost the attempt in every modern horror movie, is to come up with that iconic killer look and persona where maybe there's a franchise. And I seen it with this one as I'm watching it. What was the name of the killer? Laura Lee Sherman, I think was the name of the killer. And, they certainly tried it with this one, but... And I got it. I mean, they throw the twist in there. They try to do something a little bit different, but I mean, in the end, it just...
what the twist is? Go ahead.
Well, the twist is Jay Moore's character, the teacher, it ends up that he is the bastard son of Michael Biehn, who was forced to rape his mother back in high school
during a drunken night out.
They were all out drinking one night, and they were all kind of taking their turns with her, and they forced Michael Biehn on her, and supposedly Jay Moore's character is the son, and he's obviously harbored, ill feelings for what happened to his mother. Ill will towards Michael Biehn.
Yep.
And
and now he's apparently some sort of a transvestite character who dresses like his mother and goes around with.
I liked what he looked like with the wig on, like the big long, and then
but he's like this buff guy, like with tank tops with the wig on.
He looks metal as fuck. Like he should be the lead singer of Metal. But when he's talking to Michael Biehn, when Michael Bihn's all beat up in the chair, and like he's in his face, and he's constantly like brushing air out of his. I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I laughed, but because he's trying so hard to be serious, but just hold on.
It's true though. It's true.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so it turns out that the killer is Jay Moore dressing as his mother. I still don't get why they did certain things like the replaceable blades on the knife handles. It was like a side thought, okay, that's interesting. Like
they were trying to do something different.
I want the bigger blade
that
now.
Iconic character.
They tried to make something iconic with it, but
they wanted to copy Scream, but they couldn't copy Scream. They had to substitute. They had to make.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There was a popular formula that they had to stick to, but had to walk that line of being original with their story as well, and that's very hard, especially when you're doing cookie cutter movies, right? It doesn't matter what, if it's horror, drama, whatever's popular, that's usually the trend, and unfortunately, just like all other movies, this falls to the wayside as just being known as a Scream clone. So
for sure.
And it's interesting though. I mean, it has to have some sort of cult following because Scream Factory has recently released this on Blu-ray for the first time. I mean, they've even gone back to try to find the original uncut version of the film, which apparently can't be found.
You can find it. It's only in Spanish.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh.
Does it have the alternate ending on it?
Yes,
it does. Because the alternate ending would have made more sense. Apparently,
I don't speak Spanish. And, the only way that you could, I believe right now, if we were to look for this movie, would be to download it through a torrent or something. But again, it's only in Spanish. And from what I read on write-ups and stuff, it's the uncut version. So it does exist. It's just in Spanish.
Okay. Well, that's interestingly enough, I guess. So, okay. Effects and blood and gore in this movie. The movie, throughout the vast majority of it...
You're going to take this one too? I'm just kidding.
Doesn't have much.
Go ahead, Adam. It's okay.
Go ahead.
No. I was leading into this, thank you, but still. It doesn't have a lot, but Tim, tell us about it.
We haven't done this in a while, so, I don't know. I mean, it's what is this movie considered? Like, as far as like horror, is it a slasher?
Is it slasher? Yeah.
Slasher.
I felt if it is a slasher, if you're considering it a slasher, it's pretty tame.
Even for a slasher film, yeah.
Even for a slasher film, I mean, you look at the classics like Black Christmas, which is by many accounts the originator of slasher films. That movie was pretty tame as far as what it showed, but the tone, the way the scenes were shot, they were anything but tame. I mean, the unicorn scene, it's one of the most intense scenes I've ever seen in my life. Yep. But it hardly showed anything, right? Where we live in this, especially during this time, 2000, you can get away with showing more. And I just felt that a lot of the deaths in this movie were tame. Dare I say, lame.
Ooh.
Good play.
Right?
Play on words there. I like that, Tim.
Like that? Yeah. But, I mean, it's just, this is a movie that could have, there was enough of an original idea that it could totally. Yes, it's a clone of Scream. Scream came out. Let's try to cash in on this, but they could have totally like made something with this movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And they did have a pretty decent cast. For the most part. I mean, they weren't like thespian Shakespearean actors, but they were all right for a slasher movie. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like the one thing people go to see fucking slashers is to see slashing,
and there was deaths.
Yeah, and there was hardly, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be a horror snob here. It's just, it was pretty tame.
No, it most definitely was. For anything else, this movie should have at least had something that it could have called upon for some sort of an iconic death scene.
Absolutely. Instead of calling it Cherry Fails, it's Cherry Fails.
Ooh, Cherry
Tim
Fails.
with the absolute words tonight.
Dave gave me confidence with that last one, so now my mind's... But yeah, this movie fails.
Yeah.
Cherry Fails.
Cherry Fails. Okay, but as for the gore and stuff like this, so like I was saying, it doesn't really do a lot throughout the first part of the movie, at least. It shows the occasional death, which is, okay, whatever, it's a slasher. The only time that I will give this movie any credit for what it did show is after the absolutely lame-ass entrance of the killer, Jay Moore, into the bedroom where they're hosting the orgy part of it, and he goes, "Class dismissed!" And he just starts hacking and slashing people. Okay, there was a couple of pretty cool-looking little effects here and there, and blood started flying everywhere, but the only really good thing that I saw visually, and it kind of made me giggle when I seen it, was at the very end when they're out in the front lawn area and one of the kids is sitting there shaking and he's got somebody's severed hand still stuck on his head.
Oh my God.
And I was just kind of like, okay, because Jay Moore's character was running and hacking and slashing and killing people and somebody's...
I must have dozed off during that part because I don't remember that part.
But that was like it. That was like the most gruesome thing or, that you could imagine. And, here's a house full of dead kids now, or at the very least, very, very injured and pissed off kids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And one of them's lost a hand at this point. So, whatever. Otherwise, visually, it didn't really have a lot to go on. It did not have a lot to go on. No. But let's just kind of final thoughts on the movie itself. And
we've gotten there already. Final thoughts.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? Final thoughts on the movie, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the other pieces to it. But Dave,
final thoughts. I remember when this first came out in 2000.
You were excited.
I was excited.
Opening day. I fucking love horror movies. Dave.
Everyone was excited for
Brittany
it.
Murphy.
Everyone was still riding that Scream wave because we had Scream and then the sequel and then we had I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I mean, it was the trend at the time. And certainly the premise and the trailers for this movie showed a lot of promise. I mean, it was Cherry Falls and another serial killer slasher movie, and it looked cool, and Brittany Murphy, the up-and-coming, and, and all this kind of stuff. And I remember watching it originally, and I'm like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't anything too special, but I didn't think it was too bad, and that's why I suggested this movie. So you can blame me because I haven't watched it since it first came out back in 2000, and I'm like, hey, I know Scream Factory just re-released it, and let's rewatch it. Maybe it's time for a revisit. And I'll be honest with you, like it's a turd. It's a turd. It really is. It does not hold up. It's uninspired. It's a Scream clone, and it doesn't succeed. And it's unfortunate. I mean, it had potential. I think on paper, maybe it works on paper, and it sounded like a really good idea at the time, but the execution failed, and I see that now.
I see that now.
I didn't see it in 2000, but I see it now.
Hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but, I have no need or want to, sit down and watch this movie again anytime soon.
Potentially ever.
If not ever.
That's right.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, Tim.
What can I say that hasn't already been said? This movie was truly, I'm going to sound really snooty here, it's so uninspiring. It's literally blah. Like I said earlier, it's cherry fails. Even, like, you look at a movie that is absolutely a clone of Scream, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer. It still stands on its own. At least the first one with its story and characters, premise, the special effects. This movie didn't have any of those, and it's kind of one of those movies that, like, every time you're about to get somewhere good, like, Jay Moore's about to stab someone, it cuts away. Even Jay Moore's death of getting pushed out the window and landing on, like, the picket fence thing, they cut away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they showed this really, like, oh, I'm dead. Right? Like, it's just...
oh, I'm dead.
I'm dead.
And it's like, I don't know, like, there's massive character inconsistencies. Some random bits I still don't fucking get. Like, early on in the movie, the principal gets killed. And, like, on his forehead with a knife, it says, Virgin Not. Like...
Why?
Why does it say that? Right?
Why kill the principal? Like, now you're going against what you've already set up and established as the MO, and now you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to kill him anyway.
And you have a movie that is worse than the sum of its already horrible, terrible parts. Like, I'm just literally like... I was so annoyed watching this movie, and I was cursing the Addams brothers. Why are you making me watch this? And,
the Addams brothers.
Well, because I mean, even though Dave picked it, and, like, I understand your reasoning why picking it, we can't all do fucking home run movies. I get that.
Yeah. And
it's good to have these conversations. And, like, I wish that we had more of a presence and more of a influence, because we can easily tell you, like, these people that are making movies, this is what you should do, this is what fans want, this is not what fans want, and go into those. This is one of those examples of this is not a horror movie that you should make, right? Or at least, try to get any money. But I mean, that goes with the trend of Hollywood anyway, where 90% of the movies now aren't made for story, they're made for money. Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what this was. It was a cash grab.
And it wasn't very good, and it
didn't make cash.
No.
That's about it. Okay, I share a lot of the same sentiments as you guys. It is cherry fails.
You always do.
I always
do. Of course you do.
In this case,
we're right.
This movie pissed me off really watching it. It was bad dialogue, bad acting all around. The two best characters in the movie, I will add a second best. Michael Biehn was the first, obviously. Second was probably her mother, because she was such a fucked up character. Getting drunk and hitting on the boyfriend, and her boyfriend pointing out that, headlights and all that shit. It was just weird and awkward. And she was
weird, wasn't it?
The relationship was just screwy. But I just, kind of, yeah, that's the movie, I guess. It is what it is. The ending itself, the last scene in the movie where it shows the falls and they start pouring red, was just absolutely ridiculous. I know that they tried to be like, the name of the movie, Cherry Falls, right? But apparently,
in case you didn't get it,
if you didn't get it, we're being different. But apparently, the original ending for this movie actually took place in the daytime, in the early morning hours. And it had them kill Jay Moore on the side of the falls, and that was his blood. Was supposed to have been what it was pouring over the falls. And I'm like, that would have made more sense, for frake's sake. What the shit?
No, it wouldn't. There's no saving this movie. You want to know what they could have did to make a better movie? Not made this movie.
And with that, everybody, we're going to say goodnight because we're going to move on. We're going to go talk about something else here shortly anyway. So remember to like, subscribe, check us out on Facebook, Misunderstood Art Company. Check us out on YouTube. Hey, Patreon. Even you can help, supply us with a little bit of monthly income to help us make these movies and videos and everything else that we're doing right now. We still got other stuff coming down the pipeline that we're excited for you guys to see. So pay attention and keep with us. And until next time, Dave.
Have a good night.
Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
And we'll check you next time, everybody. Have a good night. See you then. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in this week to They Cast from the Coast. We hope you enjoyed the topic and the discussion that we've had tonight. We're very excited about everything that's being produced right now in conjunction with the Misunderstood Art Company. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, say hi in the comments section, and just in general, check out the other content that's being offered, once again, under the Misunderstood Art Company. If you want to listen just to the audio portion of this show itself, we're making it available on iTunes, Google Play, and TuneIn on top of the YouTube channel itself. So thank you very much again for your continued support. Check out the rest of the Misunderstood Art Company's offerings. You might even see some familiar faces. And until next time, take it easy.